Well, it is that time again, everybody. How you are doing well? My name is Bird Dog John, and I am back in action.
In those scenarios,
Yep.
it's good to neuralize the cameras. You guys know that best.
Very straightforward. Plug it in, go to the web UI, link the source, walk away. You know, like super simple. I keep looking over at the chat, and I keep seeing you are full of it. Tasty, spicy meat snacks. Covered in flavor. I mean, you can't go wrong. So what's going on? We've got a handful of folks here in the chat, and I really appreciate that. What's up, mate? Hey, Warren, how are you? Appreciate it. Hey, Robbie, how's it going, man? We were just talking about you. What's going on, Tom? Ahoy. How is it going? What's going on, Go Web? Good to see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us again today. Appreciate that. Feel like I'm in this video more than anyone but John. It's true, NetApp. You are, I'm going to cut this up and put this in the next intro. What's going on, everybody? I am indeed Bird Dog John, and we're back at it again for another round of exciting whatever it is that we're calling this. Here's the deal, is I don't have any audio in my headphones. So I'm listening to the show on YouTube and through the monitor, which I can hear, and that seems to be working. But for some reason, vMix has decided not to output my audio for the show, and I don't know. I can see it's working. I can hear it's working on the follow-up, but for some reason, audio outputs. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the playback here, but it says default device, which it's supposed to be. Anyway, what's also strange is typically I could hear myself talking in the headphones, which I guess I can, but normally it comes back to me. So like when I play a video or even a sound effect,
everything's coming up Millhouse.
I can't hear any of that. Now if I turn up the monitor, it is playing, so that's good. But I have no idea why. Now, here's probably what's going on is I ran in here last minute, had a few phone calls to talk this morning on, and ran in here and basically sat down in the seat and started the show. Started the show actually from a different computer, as you do. And so here we are. And definitely, if I say this and I say okay, and then I click on headphones, or let's see if we could turn this on. Yep, nothing in my headphones. Cool. So, yeah, I don't know what's happening here. So what I'll do is my audio output for my headphones, I will change to something else. So let's see if we say, I don't know. Let's see what options let's just go to none. Do you want to restart vMix? Okay, so it is confirmed that I would need to restart in order for any of this to happen. So that's not cool. So I wonder if now there's a way that I could do this in StreamYard. Actually, I think there might be. Could do this restart in StreamYard. Let's see how slick we can get with producing this. So the machine, oh, that's the wrong computer. The machine is malfunctioning. This is the computer I need to log into. You can tell that my brain is a little scattered here this morning because I'm talking through all of this in real time. Okay, so I can see StreamYard. Hey, what's going on, Angus? Good morning. I'm actually here today. You are usually here. It was just rare that you aren't. So your audio is a good quarter second out of sync. Video is ahead of audio. Okay, so then this has got to be restart vMix to apply changes. It seems a little quiet. Okay, so these are all things. These are all things that something's up here. Never use default device. Specify. Morning, Bird Dog folks. What's going on? I am Small Maple. I know who that is. Now I know who that is. What's going on, Small Maple? All right, so here's the deal. Let's run old school. Let's run a commercial and restart vMix, okay? Fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers crossed that this doesn't go terribly wrong. Let's go with, how long is that video? 46 seconds? You think that's long enough? Let's try it out. Here.
All right, go. Okay, the P200 has a fantastic Sony image module. It gives you 30 times zoom, great for any size room. It's great in low light and has awesome color rendition. On top of that, we have our BirdDog NDI processing engine, which gives you the highest quality pictures at the lowest latency. It's compatible with any NDI device on the planet and just gives you the best outputs. We have our brand new user interface with NDI version 5, which gives you waveforms and vector scopes to make sure you're properly exposed. It also gives you unlimited control as far as color control and using your camera. In addition to this, it sounds strange, but we can do pan, tilt and zoom at the same time. Try some other cameras, they can't all do it. The P200 is a fantastic camera that's got every type of connection you can want, from NDI with power over Ethernet, SDI, HDMI, any control interface. It's got a great big tally on the top. It's a really great camera. How to do with the time?
All right, and we're back. Jeez. All right, headphones are working. Slightly delayed, though. Hey, is the audio lined up now? Because it's definitely delayed in my ear, but I don't normally have the microphone in my ear. Whoa, this is weird. Something's up. Now what's going on? Oh, you know what? Ah, jeez. Audio output headphones are now set to none. Cool. So if we do this, it's going to require me to restart again. Man, this is bizarre. This is very bizarre. All right, let's run a 35-second OG, and we'll maybe get this right. Okay, I think I'm good. Let's find out. Test, test, test. Here we go. Okay. Yay, we're good. And now for the final test. Do we press a sound effect and does it actually play it?
That's pretty neat.
Yes, it works. Okay, cool. So now, okay, so my audio is on correct in YouTube. So that's good. Okay. Let's close down my remote here for a second. Let's see what my audio. I am seeing questions about the audio level. So let's jump over to the comments section and find out. That P200 video is way louder than anything else. Video and audio are in sync on Facebook. Morning, Mtash. Good morning, good morning. All right, so now laptop volume for you, 75%, 25% for Dan. Okay, it seems closer now. Balu says it looks lined up to me, so he's on Twitch. The video is also super loud. Coming at you live with some real-time bird dog troubleshooting. You are witnessing it firsthand, everybody. That is exactly what's going on. So, all right. We've had some changes happen here in the Bird Dogs support office, and so we can walk through some of those, what those things are. And I've been monkeying around with the switches and with the way that stuff is being trafficked through the network and trying to get it all to work a little more efficiently, but also, well, anyways, working efficiently. I think that's the correct way I want to say it. So let's talk about the audio for this microphone, because does it need to be louder? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what you're hearing? I guess I should say. Wow, this shot is clearly, the P4K has clearly been restarted and is not in a home position that it remembers. So let's go to P4K and we'll just adjust that one a little bit. There we go. Not too bad. Do I dare? Let's go back here. Do I dare? Ooh, this shot is kind of dull, eh? Like it needs a little more light. So I'm going to pull up the Studio P200 and let's take a little quick. Your mic is a solid 20 dB under what I'd expect it to be. 20 decibels? It's peaking out in vMix, by the way. So, okay, here, let's get this good and loud on the Behringer, but then let's find out what that sounds like. Good and loud on the... Okay, so there's very little headroom left on the Behringer. Matter of fact, if I were to get excited, I would clip. I just saw that red light. So, but in vMix, I am clipping all the time. Now, here's an interesting question. Is stinking StreamYard manipulating my audio? I don't think it should because I turned all that stuff off. No, it is not. So, StreamYard is not. Yeah, no, that sounds awful. So there you go. Wait, and then Maple says, there you go. Your sound is much better. I'm so confused, people. Get on the same page. Decide amongst yourself how this should sound. Are there any? No. There are adjustments in StreamYard. All right, I'm going to put that back to where it was because that's where I need it to be. But in vMix, it is definitely clipping almost all the time still. And I've got 10 additional dB in vMix. So if I brought that down, all right, I'm going to bring this down to match. It's just 0 dB addition. And then if I bring this one up, all right, this is just raw in and out. It's not clipping. Well, it's kind of almost clipping. But let's see what this sounds like on my iPad. All right, it's not. I mean, technically the master, it appears the master is also clipping. But there's 0 dB of gain on the master as well. So I could easily, we could add a compressor to this and see how that behaves. Probably doesn't sound great, but we could certainly try. Let's see what it sounds like. Here we go. Probably doesn't sound great, but we could certainly try. Let's see what it sounds like. Here we go. I mean, it's not terrible. Let's get a little more aggressive with it. Okay. I mean, on my iPad, it is at 3/4 volume on my iPad. It's the volume in which I would want to listen to it, which means that I've got room to make this annoyingly loud to everybody that's sitting on the train with me. So the iPad has some powerful speakers, and better speakers than the phone, for example. But if I opened up the YouTubes on this computer, let's find out how that sounds. So I'm running almost max, and it's pretty quiet on this thing. So I'm not 100% sure. Thank you. This is one of the first times here on the show. Shout out to Brayton, that the show was starting, and I said, "Hey, do we have coffee?" And he's like, "No, but I'll make it." And so he got to work and made coffee, and I gave him my mug, and he just hand delivered this to me. So shout out. That's above and beyond, folks, and that's the type of people that we hire here at Bird Dog. All right, so, oops. The louder voice of the last 15 seconds is horrible. It's much better on Brayton's end, he says. The video from Dan is about the level I would expect. Yes, this was played directly out of StreamYard. It was clean, but so quiet. What's the actual signal path into StreamYard? Yes, NDI virtual webcam is correct. Hooray for coffee. With 75% on the laptop, it should be ripping my face off. Well, it is NDI webcam, which is, I don't believe they do a decrease, but we could do audio. Let's see here. Audio. It's SMPTE level. So if you're saying it's supposed to be 10 decibels louder, then there you go. That's 10 decibels louder. I'm sure it's... Jeez. I'm listening to the show on YouTube. It definitely is a lot louder. So there we go. Angus says, okay, so you liked it 10 decibels louder. Should I go louder than that? Okay, then question. Does NDI webcam reduce the decibels of the audio signal? And is it clean? That's the other question I have. Is the audio actually clean? I don't think that's an option. I think the option is 10 or 20. So let's see. Video, you can go +6, +10, or +20. Yep. There is a 20. So I'm at +10 right now in NDI Studio Monitor. They run tools with signals with super high headroom. Okay, for purely experimental reasons, we're going to run this at 20 and see how you guys freak out. So let's see. All right, 3, 2, 1. Now we are running at 20 decibels. Good golly. Let's hear it. I mean, it is very loud in my ear, but it's not. Just bump it down a tiny bit in vMix, like 5 decibels. That's actually not a bad idea. Matter of fact, let's go into the audio channel no, let's just do the master channel on this. So, oh wait, if I turn off the compressor though, so let's go back to the original, right? This is now the original sound out of vMix. So the compressor's off. So now we're going to come down. Now I'm down 5 decibels. Okay, 6 decibels. All right. I'm down 6 decibels in vMix Master. 20 plus to give yourself headroom in vMix. Do it. Just bump it down a tiny bit in vMix. Facebook user reports loud and clear. This is the most refined we've done audio on this show, by the way. So now with another YouTube video playing in another tab on the same computer, your volume levels are subjectively the same. I wouldn't even bring it down any. Yep, nuke the compressor. You're good to go. I'm listening at 35%. I would call these good levels. This is why I have you hang out with us, Angus. Thanks for going along with it. It's much appreciated. Anything for your laptop. It's clean at +10. +1 gives me the option to turn down my headphones to adjust the level that I like. Boom. Okay, now I need to turn it off in my ear because I'm hearing it looping. If I turn this on my iPad, okay, so the 75% or the 3/4 level that I had is now at 35% like Angus. Like it's comfortable to listen where I wouldn't disturb my neighbors at 35%. So, good golly. Hey, let's fix this P200 while we're at it. My iPad makes the P200 makes me look red. Do I look red to anybody? All right, so the audio there. The question is though, what do the sound effects sound like now? So here.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
All right, so I'm going to listen to this at 50% on the iPad. Here we go. Sounds about right. To me, at least.
How neat is that?
So then let's go to, first of all, in vMix, just so that we don't, let's hit the save button because we need to save this. Do you want to replace this profile? It already exists. And Brayton, the coffee's excellent, so thank you, sir. Yeah, that'll get me through the show. Here we go. So now if we cut over, hey, see the brightness difference between these? I actually like the P4K, but obviously it's P4K lens. I like that image. So let's go ahead and alter this just slightly under the cam control tab. And with manual, we're just going to open up the iris slightly, hey-oh, and then compare the two. So back to the 4K, P4K and P200. It's a little, the P4K definitely is handling the blacks differently. And so let's change the, let's see what we can do about that. The contrast, maybe just slightly. I don't like this idea. And I'm also not in my typical attire here today, so it might be screwing with things. But yeah, okay. Well, we'll roll with it for now. I don't mind. Normally, I watch on my TV with big speakers through a receiver. Maple says yes. Says yes to what, by the way? So for that system, a comfortable level for a standard YouTube video is arbitrarily between 16 and 20. Yeah, your levels are good there. I just switched you over to the TV. Volume is 18, and it's fine. Your last show I watched, the TV was at 30, which is typical listening level for movie dialogue on this system. The blinking lights in the on the 4K are a nice little addition to the frame. Let's see. What are you looking at? Oh, is it this here? Okay, so that's the P200, right? That is the P200 running. Is it possible to do a side-by-side to allow for adjustments? Oh, always. But you don't like just switching between these two? Isn't that fun? I don't know why you don't want me to do that. It's strange. I actually come in here and adjust these like once a week, and so it's not too, I'm not too picky about it. You know, it's okay. Jump scare. Oh, man. A P200 in the teleprompter. Yes, that is confirmed. So this is a Telscript teleprompter, and there's a P200 in there. It used to be the P4K, but the P4K is really heavy compared to the 200. And this Telscript is actually just sitting on top of a table very official. But just the way that my studio is set up now, I have to have it a lot closer than it used to be. And so I don't have it on a stand where it was supported by basically a shelf. Now it's just sitting on a bit of a table. And so the P4K is now that one over there. And that P200 is inside this teleprompter, which is this camera here. So it works well. And it doesn't run super hot. So it's helpful to run it inside the teleprompter. I just have the back open. Like you can see the back is open where the connections are made. And then you can see the actual nick on the back of that camera functioning. So I have a teleprompter. I really try my P200 in it. If it fits my tiny Lenovo Windows laptop, that thing makes a fantastic NDI monitor. So my workflow with this, and you know this already, is that I have an NDI image. I've used teleprompters before where I had just a screen that showed basically studio monitor. But what I like to do is put my P200 image on the teleprompter and then put the P200 in there. And so when I'm talking to the main camera, even when I switch cameras, I could just continue to talk to the main camera, and I know that that's what the image is. So I can look at the P4K, but it's so far away that I would rather just talk directly into the P200. And then I've positioned it where the lens is right about where my face is. And so I can just talk to myself, essentially, when I'm talking to the camera. And then it looks like I'm talking to you, which is one of my pet peeves. And it was for a very long time, where I was looking off camera all the time. And so it was kind of like this shot a little bit, where I was kind of like off camera, and none of the camera, I was not looking into any of the cameras. I was kind of like looking down and away, or looking up at a multi-viewer. So everything's changed, and now I can look directly at this camera, and I like it. I like YouTube videos, especially, guys that are doing something like this, where there are multiple camera angles, but one of them is you are being addressed in at least one of them, and it looks like you're talking. So I've gotten comfortable with talking to myself because, shocker, I do that all the time. But when I'm actually talking about content, I've gotten very used to just making sure that I'm looking at myself as if I'm talking to somebody, but then I've framed it. I can make sure that I'm in the frame and then look all right, and the microphone's not obstructing my mouth too badly and everything. So, and then I run a playlist, and that goes through some random shots of cameras. So P4K, P110. I did notice that the P100, my overhead P100 shot, is now shooting at the wall. And again, probably a power cycle did it. So if I were to go over to the 100, actually what I could do is, let's stop the playlist. Let's go to that overhead shot. Where is it? This one. So I've set this up where I'm in the corner so you guys can see what I'm doing. But let's steer this one back to home base, which is, I believe, preset 1. There I am. Oh, and you can see my iPad. There it is. And my coffee, delivered by Bird Dog Brayton. My little X keys, which lost its color. Like, I had red and blue set up on that. So let's do that. This is known as launch the macro works. Oh no. I forgot that about this. Hardware settings, please. Shoot. Is my audio still playing, right? All right. Because it jacks with these buttons get like messed up. Is this still working?
Good news, everyone!
Okay, so I can hear that just fine. It didn't start the recorder or anything. Okay, cool. So I don't know what to do about this, where I don't know why X keys uses what on earth? It's like loading all sorts of stuff when I turn X keys on, and now it's recording. Why are you recording? Stop recording. Is my audio still on? My audio's on, right? All right. And is this still working?
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Excellent. Okay, so that's still working. This is really bizarre that when you open the X keys module to see, because look, my X keys unit now, the lights are set up as the way that I had them like kind of originally designed, but it doesn't save that information on board. I don't understand why that is. So I don't know. I'll have to figure that out one of these days. So now let's go back to my main shot. There we are. You guys can still hear me all right, right? Just like I check the chat. Might make an excuse to buy an PF120. I have one, a PF120. It's just not in the studio. Hence why there are tallies. Yes, but not. That's the thing, is the style that I've decided to go with in this show. You know, Brent, how you doing, man? The style that I've decided to go with in the show is that when I am like looking at a different, when my cameras are going through, I want to look at this shot. Still, I don't want to like follow my cameras around. The tally light's on the PF110. It's right there. It's on. But I don't necessarily want to be like for 25 seconds like talking to this camera and talking to this camera and being on. I would rather have this look where you know that I'm talking into a camera, and if I'm like teaching stuff or I'm presenting, then the look is this. This is the look that we're going with, and then the playlist basically puts it back automatically for me, which I really like. I like having multiple angles on stuff. Okay, so the desktop view is working. That's good. I can close that down. And the music channel, is it playing something? No, it's been muted. That channel's down. Let's close this. Close these videos. Opener. Now the overlays are working. That's cool. I really like these little overlays. They're like quick ways of showing some information. You can set them up to basically run on their own timer. And so I have a couple of those set up. And that is super easy to get going. I'm happy to show that if anybody's interested in learning how to do that in vMix. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's not too complicated. And of course, I don't have my heat map up today, which I've neglected to get started. So I could do that real quick. And I could throw that up on, oh, that's cool. So I could throw this up on the screen. Let's delete these rows. And then show the chart. And put it on this screen. And F11 for full screen. And then let's go over to my trusty dusty desktop. Here we go. There is the world. If you don't know where you are, there is a little QR code I'm going to throw up here on the show. And you're welcome to scan the QR code. Where is it here? Here it is. You can scan that QR code. That's just northeast of Russia. And put a pin on the map. And the two questions I ask are, what country are you in and what's the closest city? And based on that information, Google Sheets for free puts a pin on the map. And so if any of you do that, that should appear. And of course, Angus is first, as always. So yeah, that's our trusty dusty heat map. You can even see it over on this shot. You can see Angus's dot up on the screen. So good stuff. Looks like we also have a, what is that, 3 a.m. over in Perth. Ridiculous. But thank you for joining us. I know that this show is not ideal for everyone to join us, but the fact that we have people checking in the middle of the night in Australia always dumbfounds me, because I'm sure they're working or he has some sort of narcolepsy, but man, you are online Tuesday, Thursdays regularly, and I do not know what sort of job requires you to hold those hours, but yowzas. Bravo for being consistent. That's for sure. Let's see what else we got. Audio is still good. That's good. Hey, John, you really need central control. It's the way to go with the X keys. Fascinating. I have looked into some central control stuff, specifically with the teleprompter option. And I've been talking with Bird Dog Jake about, what it can do, but it's so loaded with, features that it's really hard to kind of wrap my brain around exactly everything. And my use case for it, I've heard it's the bee's knees, as the people in the retirement home say. Because I don't know any kids that say that ever. And I think I'd have to Google, what does bee's knees? What does, quote, the bee's knees? I see that I'm not the first one. Something excellent, surpassingly wonderful or cool. Thank you. What website is this? Thank you, wordnick.com. The meaning and origin of the expression, the bee's knees. It's the phrase, much like the cat's pajamas, has given its name to a cocktail made of gin and honey and lemon and orange juice. The phrase, the bee's knees, is originally an 18th century fanciful phrase which referenced to something that didn't exist. It was used as a kind of spoof item apprentices would be sent to the stores to fetch, like tartan paint or a left-handed hammer. This meaning is no longer used. In the Roaring Twenties, in America, bright young things invented nonsense language to reference to things that were, quote, the tops, like, quote, the cat's pajamas, or, quote, the snake's hips, and so on. They utilized the existing the bee's knees phrase to add to that list. The expression has since spread and is now used worldwide to mean excellent and, quote, the very best. Do we want to go through a narrative full story of what the bee's knees is? I love how there's a picture of a bee on this website. There you go. I know that everybody really wanted to know what that was all about. And now you know. Now you know. It's odd. My viewership just dropped off. You don't say. You don't say. Well, I'm gonna sit here and drink my coffee. Enjoy the morning. The calm before the storm. Actually, so, as the title suggests, it has been a whirlwind morning, mostly because my son was sick today. My wife had to do something at work before she could come home. So she went to work for like an hour and a half and then came home. So I was at home with my son. And then I came in. As I was coming in, I was getting these updates about like, hey, this guy's calling. This guy wants a response, all this stuff. So I basically ran in, picked up the phone, started calling people, trying to get back to them. And then we had multiple calls come back, basically follow-up questions, which is totally fine. And but then it pushed me right up against the 11 o'clock. So here I am trying to get the show started. And then, of course, vMix wasn't outputting audio as I would expect. So hope your son feels better right away. Thank you. Yeah, it's a long weekend here in the States with Labor Day. And by the way, the Bird Dog support office is closed on Monday for Labor Day. So just a heads up. That will be something you need to be aware of. But we will be back in on Tuesday. So there you go. And we'll do a regular show just like normal. So don't worry, folks. I know that was your next question. But what about the Bird Dog John show? Don't worry. It's happening. That's the plan. Hey, I need to send out here, by the way, if you have ideas for like things that you want to learn about or demos or whatever, I'm happy to take on suggestions. So I got paper and pens, and I'm able to write down your ideas and schedule shows and everything. So if you have an idea, or like, hey, I'd love to have a demo on how this is done or what that is, or I want to, I don't know, whatever, then please reach out here on the show and just leave a comment. If you're watching this post game, feel free to leave a comment. I get notified of those over YouTube, and we can follow up with you. So, alrighty. I'm going to close this. Let's check out my little heat map here again, because this is so cool. So yeah, a handful of you guys are hanging out. Good stuff here. It is 11:45 p.m., by the way, and this is more of an enthusiastic interest than a job, maybe to turn into an earning down the road. Very cool. Well, that is extremely late, still really late. But I do know people that do work that late, so that's not. But in Melbourne, isn't it 1:45 in Melbourne right now? Where are you? Are you the friend in Perth? Are you this dot right here? How is it earlier in the night if it's later in Melbourne? I don't know how that works, but my brain is not great with global time. I've struggled with it since I came on, and it's not been great because most of the team is 16 hours ahead of me. You're in Perth, and so it's 11:45. Well, what's wrong with my watch? Oh, 14. They're ahead, 14 hours ahead. So wouldn't you be further into the night? Wouldn't you be 16 hours ahead in Perth? How is it earlier there? I'm very confused. Anyway, all good. I'm definitely probably wrong, so don't worry about that. My brain's just not functioning on a level in which it should today. Okay, I'm going to close this and this. Cool. All right, that's done. So yeah, we've got a lot going on in the support office. There's a whole heap of tickets that need to be kind of looked after and followed up on. We are doing a lot more remote sessions than we've ever done before, so that's been an interesting development where we remote in and help people kind of get things on their NDI network configured. It is a service that we offer. We just need to schedule those so that somebody's here to do it. Instead of we don't actually have like people waiting around for phone calls. If nobody's here to do it, we take a number and we call you back. Or with remote sessions, we typically try and plan those because integrators need to go out on site, but we also need somebody here who can, actually work on the problem. So we've got guys that work in the office all the time, but not all of them are, product experts. Some of them they do other things. So Perth is +8 GMT. Sorry, I meant +14 from me. So that makes sense, I think. Let's see here. I have a world time converter. Yeah, so if we just put in Perth, this will sort us out. Nope, that says Peru. That's not what I wanted to write. Okay, so Detroit is where I am technically, and Perth, Australia. It does say it's 11:48. You are right. So you are 12 hours ahead of me, whereas Melbourne is 14 hours ahead of me. So that's the dealio there. Where are we here? Here's that little time converter that I was just working on. So this is a really cool website if you're working in a global world and you need to know this stuff. So Detroit, it's 11 a.m. and for you, then it's 11 p.m. This is the hour in which we are in. London, which is GMT, right, is going to be 5 p.m. I'm sorry, 4 p.m. right now. And then I don't know why Buenos Aires is on here, and I don't know why Baltimore is on here. It's certainly not my home. There we go. My house is currently listed in Detroit. So that is my time zone. But this is really neat that you can basically put in time zones and then be like, oh, it's, my 5 a.m. is their 10 a.m. So if you're doing meetings with people in different time zones, you just say, what city are you in? Punch it in. So let's just say we've got a guy in Melbourne. We do have a guy in Melbourne. Now we can see, yeah, they're +14 right here, +14 or +10 from GMT. So that makes sense. And then +12 for Perth, which I guess my brain was thinking you were later into the night. But anyways, 11:49. Thanks for checking in. That's always cool. So M4350 update. Yesterday we got the 4350 integrated into our workflow. Our remote resources, NDI, Dante, and data plugged into the 4350 at the football field. It's connected via 2.5 gigabit multi-gig port into the school's network via our VLAN DHCP reservation list. On the control room side, we have a 250 with a static leg between two ports, bringing in 2 gigs of NDI, Dante, and data going into a TriCaster. Smooth video, audio, and data so far. Further testing will remain today. Yes, and you had sent me a ticket, was it? With some photos. That was really cool to see that stuff. It has the module, it has the hot swappable power supply in it, right? That thing's so cool. Let's go here. I think I have your ticket. MTash. Why? Oh, I'm in the wrong department. That's why. All right. Let me say here. Cool, cool, cool. I need to just pull up these photos so we can see them. All right. Yeesh. All right, so let's share this and throw this up here. Check that out. So looks like we have the 4350 on top and the 4250 on the bottom. Those are both huge switches, by the way, like beefy. And then if we spin them around, check that out. Isn't that so stinking cool? Love it. Question though, why? This is PSU number 1, so you can swap out the PSU, what, to provide a bigger PoE budget? What's the, or just like if the PSU dies, you can swap it out and keep going? Because that, honestly, is great if that's the plan. Ooh, it even has a little on-off switch? What? A physical on-off switch? Man, I got to get me one of these things. Super jealous. Yeah, that's really cool. Big fan of that new 4350. I'm very anxious to see what the performance is like, because I think that it'd be really fun to get that as, like, the 4300 series is already the backbone of a lot of commercial level installations, right? So I know integration companies that are using the 4300 switch series to be the back end, basically their core, and then putting 4250s on the edges. And they work great. They all talk to each other. They have similar infrastructures. But now with this 4350 line, that's basically the commercial high performance level of the AV line for the 4250s. It's like the complement to the 4250s. Yeah, I so badly want, especially with the swappable PSU and whatever. Now, as an integrator, you can give high-level recommendation and also assurances. It's like, yeah, well, if the PSU goes, we just swap it out for a new one and we keep going, right? So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what Netgear is up to with this new line of switches, because I think it's really going to be beneficial for a lot of folks, especially in the integration realm. You know, just giving customers that sense of assurance that, yep, we have an infrastructure that's fully supported through NDI. We have end products that are fully supported through NDI, industry standards that are, you know, anyways, it's all good. I'm very, very pleased that a networking company is taking it serious, because we needed somebody to take it serious. You're certainly not going to get a company like Cisco or Aruba or Meraki or whatever, HP, Dell. You're not going to get them to come out with a specific NDI style AV switch. Now, thankfully, there's already an AV department at Netgear, right? So when NDI got introduced, 6-7 years ago now, you know, they noticed, and nobody latched onto it except them. And so they've got a clear market hold on the entire AV product range because they not only do they support NDI, which they're one of the only ones that do full out in their marketing and in their tech specs, but they also have multiple other standards that they adhere to. So if you're looking to do NDI 5, if you're looking to do Dante, if you want to do, AVB, you can do all sorts of profiles and all on the same switch, all housed in the same place. I did, like I said the other day, or no, like I said earlier, the other day, I have been customizing my switches to run a little bit differently, partially because I have been talking about how to configure things, but my switches aren't actually configured that way. And so I need to put my money where my mouth is and start operating that way, right? So now this network, this show is set up as I would expect you to run it. And I'll talk about workflow because I think it's valuable for you to understand kind of what's going on. So this is my 4250. This is my primary studio one. This one has always been in the studio. Used to actually sit here on the floor, believe it or not. But this is the primary studio switch. And when I moved in here, I brought a network rack to, let me just do this real quick. When I moved in here, I brought a network rack so that I could have a whole lot more stuff in here. In particular, Stream Dude's machine showed up, so I put that in here. I have another switch that I had over there because I need the ports in this room, so I have that in here now. And then I had some cable management stuff, but also several standalone units in a PSU unit and a fiber patch panel and an Ethernet patch panel and a couple other things. So I have a half network rack sitting here, which is actually what the teleprompter is sitting on. And the 4250, I was in the studio, I was running everything I was doing for the show was running off of one of these. Okay, this is a little 12-porter entry level. What is it, 125 watts or something like that? Let's go over here. What's the power? But this is like one of their base models, right? So yeah, my max is 125. So I was running a 110, a 100, a 200, and a P4K, all off of, and occasionally a PF120, all off of this switch. Then I moved in here and I load balanced. So now I've got this switch, which is running half of the camera fleet, basically, the three main. But then I've got like an NDI unit. I've got two other computers in here now. I've got a computer that's, the Stream Dude's machine. And so I need to get them all into their own VLAN, their own kind of like studio VLAN. So what I did was, as you can imagine, I created a network profile, which is Studio VLAN 77. And that's what this network is. The catch with this is governed on the other switch. Okay, so if we click on neighbor, actually, if we just do like a topography thing, actually, I have the Engage software on here. Let's use that instead. Well, whatever. Let's do this. So on here, I've got, this is the switch in port 11. This is a Mac that I'm running on my desk. This is a phone, a VoIP phone. And all of these are running in the data network on the one VLAN, except for, well, this guy is, I guess. So here's that other switch. What now? Okay, cool. So I've offloaded half of the NDI requirements for this show here on one switch and half on the other, with the exception that two of these ports are computers that are running, one, the Stream Dudes is running directly to that VLAN, and then my other machine that's running the NUC computer, the old vMix machine, is now basically just doing StreamYard. And so all this switching is just done through a remote, and I'm able to then, remove sources or call up queues or whatever. That's all happening on that old vMix machine on the other side of my office now. And I can throw these all in here, but that, okay, so this is that one switch. If I go here and share this one instead, this is that second switch. And let me make sure that, that's showing correctly. So here I've got 4 sources, or I've got 4 ports in this VLAN. Now, this is not super clean because I've got lots of stuff going on in this office, and these switches are supposed to be used for testing as well as this. And so you can see I have 2, 3, 6, and 9. You would not do that. And same with this, is that you would not just randomly pick ports. You would usually say 1 through 4 are going to be VLAN 77, and my data network 1 is going to be 5 through 10 or whatever you want to do. Try and keep it somewhat organized and uniform. That's proper, because then you can scale adequately, and you can what you've got. You also know that when you walk into a server room, headroom, the first 4 are NDI, VLAN 7 or 77 or whatever you want to call it, and then the other ones are all data network. That makes it a lot easier for patching over as well. But when you have 2 switches and it's right here and you can literally open the door and change it however you want, you can do something like this. It's just not very clean. Like if I get hit by a Mack truck, the guys in the office will need to spend a day or so probably figuring out, okay, what the heck was John doing in here? And then they'll have to figure out the switches. So I have my own VLAN now for the studio cameras, and then they're all coming into Stream Dudes. Stream Dudes is switching the show, and then Stream Dudes is sending that back to the NDI network, the VLAN, and then that StreamYard's computer has dual NIC on it, and so it's one goes to the data network, one goes to the VLAN and the NDI VLAN, and then I can receive that, flip that signal into USB, and then upload that to StreamYard, and here we are manipulating the signal. So this is the workflow that I have been professing for a very long time that people use, and now I'm doing it. So there you go. It's real. And I feel good about that. So there you go. All right. We still sound all right here on the show. Yeesh, we do. Okay, cool. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Yeah, MTash, I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that 4350. I'm sure it will work admirably for you. It certainly looks really cool. But yeah, keep us posted, man. It's always fun to hear about new equipment in the field, especially something that I'm super hyped about. So don't get hit by a Mack truck. How do you think it's going to change? How do you think it's going to change with X120? How do I think what's going to get changed? Well, first of all, yes, the plan is not to get hit by a Mack truck. That is just my go-to phrase, and people hate it. But yes, no, there is no plan. But yeah, if they need to come in here and figure out what I've been up to, then it'll take them probably a few minutes to figure out all that. How do you think this is going to change with the X120? I think that the X120, I don't know. First of all, I don't know how it's going to go because I've been professing wired networks for a very long time. However, the X120 is strictly an HX camera, or a HX camera, as they say in Australia. And so I don't hate the X120, but they call it a HX camera. So you gotta breathe that H letter to get it accurate. And granted, I think North America is the only place that says H and not H, but I think it sounds like you're saying you hate the letter H for some reason. But anyway, so the X120 is going to be an HX camera, and so I genuinely think that you will be able to integrate it into a full NDI workflow. It'll obviously be just HX, but two things. One, the Wi-Fi requirements are going to be somewhere in the 5 to 6 meg range, as I can tell. Like HX2 needs about 6 megs. And so if you're running HX2, which I think is supposed to be the expectation with the X120, 6 megs is not really that big of a deal for an access point. Now, 6 or 7 of those, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be able to. And when you start having drop frames, I don't necessarily know what people will expect support to tell them. Because how are we ever supposed to test a bunch of Wi-Fi access points to make sure they perform correctly. Like, I don't know how that is. I think that there is going to be a much higher level. Oh, jeez. I just like swallowed a bubble or something. There's a much higher level. Let's try that again. I think that there will be a much higher level of customer ownership when it comes to performance, because I genuinely don't know how you're going to expect BirdDog to be able to say like, oh, change these settings on your Asus Nighthawk blah 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 router. Like, sorry, we're not doing that. I'm not buying hundreds of routers to make sure that the one that you have works. There's no way. I'll never get that approved in a budget. So to create a Wi-Fi camera is kind of like a gamble, because maybe it just works and it works on everything. But I've been in support long enough to know I haven't seen that ever happen just yet, where everything just works on any configuration. So I think obviously the immediate thing will be to get a few robust access points that we can stand behind. Now, Netgear make access points, right? And so it would make sense that if they already integrate across their 4250 line, that's maybe where you would go with it. But I don't know. And I'm very nervous about saying anything to people about like, oh yeah, it just, just plug it in. It just works. Anytime somebody tells you that, you need to take a deep breath, because I don't know how anyone in this day and age, with the amount of crap that's in the market, in the networking infrastructure market, I don't know how anyone could possibly say, hey, it just works, just plug it in. Like, that's crazy. So be careful. All good. I'm a New Zealander, a Kiwi, so Aussie accents are as much a mystery to me as you. I have actually a relative. I have a couple of relatives that are Australian, and I've never visited them in their home, because the first time I went to Australia was in 2019, and then we got locked down for 2 years, and then I went back for business in actually this week last year. I was in. Don't worry, I'm not crying. I got something in my eye, and it really stings. It's tears. So I went back this week last year, and it was a great trip. First of all, we had a great time. We had a chance to see the new office and see the video wall stuff and get to talk about all the products and see each other, which is something we rarely get to do. So that was great. And I ended up calling my relatives when I was in Australia, because that was as close as I was going to get to them. And in Australia, it's funny because maybe it's just like non-North American places, but they think like a 4-hour plane ride is a short jaunt, which I realize how far you're traveling in that amount of time. But I told my coworkers that where my aunt and uncle lived, and they were like, oh, that's just a quick 3-hour plane ride. And I was like, a quick 3-hour plane ride? Like, I can get across the country in the United States in 3 hours. And not even on a fast airplane, I can get across most of the country in 3 hours. It took me 4 hours flight time to go from Detroit all the way to Las Vegas and then to Seattle without the layover. But like flight time, it took less time than that to do that. And so anyways, I was like, I think you and I are thinking like, I think you think everything is Texas over here. In Texas, you can fly for a while and not get anywhere. At least anywhere worth going. No, you could drive for days in Texas and not get anywhere. So there you go. That is the truth. I saw a shirt one time that says everything's bigger in Texas except when you're on Alaska. And I was like, oh, that's a great rebuttal, because Texas is tiny compared to Alaska. So anyways, yeah, I have in-laws, so I ended up just calling them when I was in the terminal, because I was like, hey, this is as close as I'm going to be with you awake. So they told me to stop by next time I'm in town. And I was like, well, I'd love to do that, but I never come to Australia just to hang out. So there you go. There you go. Okay, well, it's 10 after 12, and we are pretty much good to go. Let's take a look at another quick look at the heat map and see where everybody checked in from. So just a handful of people. Scan that little QR code, put their little pin on the map. Thanks for playing along, everybody. Really appreciate that. It's always fun. Hang out with you a bit and get to chat. Like I said, we are having quite a busy day over here, and so we are going to kind of get back to it and get back to our customers. That's always a priority, but yeah, there's a lot going on. Really excited about some of the stuff that we're gearing up for. And of course, if you're over in Europe, plan to head over to IBC because we'll have some guys over there. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but Bird Dog Jake will be there, and he's a bigger celebrity than I am in this company. So go and see Jake and hang out with him, and he'll show you all the great things with cloud and all that stuff. So always cool. IBC will be probably a pretty great show this year, so looking forward to that. Hey, sorry, my devices are... Hang on. What is this? Sorry, my devices are like decoding 6G devices purchased from early comments that X120 were 6G. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean like Wi-Fi, right? Yeah. But happy to give you updates when I have any info. So let me see who commented that, because sometimes when it comes up on Facebook, it just says, oh, it's Brent. Hey, Brent. It just says Facebook user, which is not helpful at all, right? So yeah. Hey, Steven, always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by today. Appreciate that. Always great. Oh, wow. Thank you. That's quite the compliment. So yeah, I believe it is NDI 5 though, or I'm sorry, NDI 5. I believe that it's Wi-Fi 5 because I asked them about that, because it said in the initial marketing it said Wi-Fi 6, but then I asked the camera project manager and he said no, definitely Wi-Fi 5. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Hey, have a great day. Always fun to hang out. Likewise, Angus. Take care of yourself, and we will definitely check you out the next time you're here. So, as always, everybody, feel free to come back, hang out with us anytime. Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to 12, right here on birddogjohn.tv is where we like to be. So be sure that you scan that QR code or just go over to birddogjohn.tv and hit that subscribe button, mostly so that I can show people, hey, the channel's growing. Matter of fact, I haven't looked at it today. Let's go over there right now and view channel. I think we had like 308 or 307 the last time I was on here. So, 309. Somebody else is subscribed. So there you go. 309 subscribers. So thank you to all of you subscribers out there. Really appreciate that. It's always helpful to have people following along. And then you can, if you use YouTube at all, you can set the notification, whatever you prefer. And that way you don't have to rely on Facebook or... well, basically then Facebook or stumbling across the show when it's on. So we go live twice a week, and happy to answer any NDI questions that you have. Bring them to the show if you're working on stuff or if you have questions about workflow, because if I don't know, there's a good chance that somebody else in here will know. And so there's always a handful of people that are hanging around willing to help. So today we fixed my audio, and so that's always nice. Thank you. Shout out to Angus for that and all the live feedback while we sorted that out. Moral of the story is restart vMix before the show begins. I think that's safe to assume from here on in. So take care of everybody. Take care of everybody. Take care of yourselves, everybody. And we'll definitely look for you in the next on Tuesday at 11 o'clock Eastern time right here and on birddogjohn.tv. And we'll definitely would enjoy hanging out with you again. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
tried your best and you failed miserably. The lesson is never try.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.